Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're headed north.
North.
Way north. To Finland.
Oh, wow.
To learn about their unemployment benefits system. Our main source today
Okay.
is this 2024 brochure from Kela.
Cute.
Yeah, it's the Finnish Social Security Institution.
Okay.
And this deep dive is really for anyone who is curious about how other countries, particularly those known for strong social safety nets, handle unemployment.
You know, it's interesting how Finland consistently ranks so high in global happiness surveys.
I know.
Could their approach to unemployment play a role in that?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And I was super intrigued when I saw that Finland offers a special benefit
Oh.
for people over 55 who are facing job loss. Plus, they made some recent policy changes.
Like what?
Like removing the additional support that families with children used to receive.
Interesting.
So let's dive in. The brochure outlines two main types of benefits.
Okay.
Unemployment allowance and labor market subsidy.
Right. But before we even get into the types, it's important to understand that Finland has this organization called the TE Office.
The TE Office.
Yeah, it stands for Employment and Economic Development Office.
Okay.
And they're a key player in everything we're going to talk about today.
So they're the ones who handle the benefits.
They do more than just handle the payments.
Oh.
They actively help people find work.
So it's not just about financial assistance.
Yeah,
It's about guidance and resources, too.
exactly. They offer coaching, job search coaching and skills training, even like work tryouts.
Oh,
It's about getting people back on their feet.
I like that. It
Yeah.
seems like a system that encourages participation.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me more about this unemployment allowance. The brochure mentions two subtypes, earnings-related and basic.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference?
The earnings-related allowance,
Yeah.
it's like a safety net tied to your work history.
Okay.
It's almost like a private insurance policy.
So the more you've paid in, the more you get back if you need it.
Right. The amount you get is based on your previous income
Okay.
and also whether you are a member of an unemployment fund.
Wait, an unemployment fund?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's kind of like a professional organization that people can join while they're employed.
Oh, interesting.
And in addition to offering various services, they manage these earnings-related payouts for their members.
So it's another layer of support within the system.
Exactly.
Okay, so the more you've contributed, the more support you can get back
Yeah.
if you lose your job.
Exactly.
But what if you don't qualify for the earnings-related allowance? What happens then?
That's where the basic allowance comes in,
Okay,
and that's paid directly by Kela.
got it.
And it's a flat rate of 37.21 per day,
Okay.
paid out for a 5-day week.
37.21 a day. Just out of curiosity, how does that compare to, like, the cost of a basic meal in Finland?
That's a good question. It's definitely not a lavish lifestyle,
Right,
but it is designed to cover your essential needs
right.
while you're looking for work.
And of course, the TE office is there to help people find that work
You got
as
it?
quickly as possible.
Yes.
Now, I know Finland recently changed their policy on additional support for families with children.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Before April 2024, families with children
Yeah.
did receive an extra amount on top of their benefits,
Right.
but that has been discontinued.
Wow. That's a pretty big change.
Yeah, it's a significant shift. I'm sure it sparked debate.
I imagine so. It's definitely a big change, and I wonder what the factors were that led to that decision. But let's focus on what is still available.
Okay.
The brochure mentioned a supplementary amount for people who are participating in TE office activities.
Mhm.
Tell me more about that.
So if you're actively involved in TE office programs,
Like what?
like the job search coaching, skills training, those work tryouts I mentioned,
Yeah.
you can get an extra 5.29s per day on top of your basic allowance. Okay. For up to 200 days.
So they're incentivizing people to actually take advantage of these resources.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all about helping people become more employable.
Yes.
But even getting that basic allowance isn't automatic.
Right.
There's a work requirement you need to meet.
Yes.
Tell me more about that. What does that look like?
Essentially, to qualify for the basic allowance, you need to have a recent work history
Okay.
that demonstrates that you've been contributing to the system.
So it's not just about being a resident.
Right.
It's about actually having a track record of employment.
Precisely.
Mm.
And they recently changed how they calculate this work requirement
Oh.
to make it a bit more flexible in how people accumulate their work history.
Okay.
But the core principle is still there.
Yeah.
You need to have been a part of the workforce to benefit from the support system.
Makes sense.
And it's not just work in Finland that counts.
Oh.
They also consider work done in other EU or EEA countries,
Oh, okay.
or Switzerland.
Wow, so it's very interconnected.
It shows how interconnected these systems are.
It speaks to a broader vision of social responsibility, beyond just national borders.
Exactly.
Now, what about self-employed people? Is there like a separate set of rules for them?
Absolutely. The brochure has a whole section on the specifics for self-employed individuals.
Okay.
It's a little too in-depth to go into right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the takeaway is that Finland recognizes
Yeah.
the nuances of different work situations.
It sounds like they've really tried to make the system
Yeah?
as inclusive and comprehensive as possible.
Definitely.
But let's move on to that other type of benefit,
Okay.
the labor market subsidy.
Uh-huh.
When would someone receive this instead of the unemployment allowance?
The labor market subsidy kind of acts like a safety net
Okay,
for people who might not qualify for the allowance,
got it.
maybe because of insufficient work history or other circumstances.
Okay.
And it's available to residents aged 18 to 64.
Okay.
And there's no time limit
Oh, wow.
on how long you can receive it.
Okay, so that's a big difference from the allowance,
Yes, very different.
which has a maximum duration.
Yes.
So this is really meant to provide longer-term support.
Yes.
Okay, and what about the amount? Is it comparable to the basic allowance?
The daily amount is the same, 37.21,
Okay,
paid for a 5-day week.
got it.
And it's also taxable income.
Okay.
But there's some limitations,
Like what?
especially for people under 25
Okay.
or without vocational training.
It seems to align with what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Finland's emphasis on education and training.
Exactly. Investing in skills to improve employability.
Yeah.
And just like the basic allowance, participating in TE office activities can increase the subsidy amount.
So again, it's that proactive approach,
Right.
encouraging people to take advantage of the resources.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's worth pausing here and considering something you mentioned earlier, Finland's consistently high ranking in happiness surveys.
Mm.
Do you think their approach to social support,
Yeah.
particularly for the unemployed, could actually contribute to that sense of well-being?
That's a great question. While it's hard to isolate one specific factor,
Right.
I do think it speaks to something powerful.
Okay.
The idea that even during tough times, people feel supported
Yeah.
and cared for. That sense of security,
Yeah.
that there's a system to help you get back on your feet,
Yeah.
that can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
And maybe even impact their well-being.
You know, it makes me think about the psychological impact of unemployment.
Yeah.
It's not just financial stress.
No, it's not.
It's a blow to your confidence
It
and
is.
your sense of purpose.
Definitely.
And so a system that acknowledges that
Yeah.
and offers both financial and practical support
Right.
could go a long way in sort of mitigating those negative feelings.
Absolutely. It's a more holistic view of well-being.
Yeah,
Something to consider as we look deeper
exactly.
into how this system operates.
Okay, so let's get back to those specifics.
Okay.
We talked about the work requirements for the basic allowance.
Uh-huh.
Are there any additional requirements for the labor market subsidy?
There was one that stands out to me.
Okay.
Parental income can actually affect the amount someone receives
Oh, wow.
if they're living with their parents.
So they're factoring in familial support networks.
Right, like acknowledging that family can play a role
Yeah.
in supporting someone
Mm-hmm.
during unemployment.
But it's not a blanket rule.
Right, there's an exception.
What's that?
If the person is actively involved
Oh.
in TE office activities,
Okay.
their parents' income doesn't impact their subsidy.
Okay, so it's like another layer of incentive
Exactly.
to participate in those programs.
Uh-huh.
It's a subtle but clever way to encourage people to engage with the support system.
Yes.
Now let's talk about what happens when someone starts working again
Okay.
while they're still receiving benefits.
Sure.
After all, the goal is to get people back to work, right?
Exactly.
So how does the system handle that transition?
Well, the Finnish system has a simple but effective rule.
Okay.
Every euro you earn reduces your benefits by 50 cents.
I like that.
It's a gradual reduction.
Yeah.
So you can ease back into work
Right.
without a sudden loss of income.
It's a much more humane approach
Yes.
than a sudden cutoff.
Yes.
It allows people to take on work opportunities
Yeah.
without fearing a financial cliff.
Exactly. It incentivizes work
Yeah.
without penalizing you for earning.
But there was a recent change
Oh.
regarding this rule,
Uh-huh.
which came into effect in April 2024.
Right.
They used to have this €300 monthly exempt amount,
Right.
meaning anything below that wouldn't affect your benefits,
Yeah.
but they discontinued that.
So now every euro has an impact.
Wow, that's a pretty significant change.
It is.
I wonder what was behind that.
Yeah.
Was it cost saving?
It's hard to say without more information,
Yeah.
but it shows these systems are always evolving.
Right. They're constantly being reevaluated and adjusted.
Exactly.
You know, one thing that seems consistent is the emphasis on transparency and individual responsibility.
Yeah.
The brochure stresses the importance of reporting your work hours
Yes.
and any income to Keela.
It's about maintaining the integrity of the system.
Right. Making sure people receive the correct amount.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
The system provides support,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have a responsibility, to be honest.
It's a partnership built on trust.
Exactly.
Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on the financial aspects,
Uh-huh.
but I'm curious about the educational and training opportunities that are available.
Yes.
We've touched on this a little,
Briefly.
but I think it's worth exploring a bit further.
Definitely.
The brochure mentions that the TE office plays a central role
They do.
in this.
They're much more than just an unemployment office.
Right.
They offer a range of services to equip people
Yeah.
with the skills and knowledge they need
Okay.
to thrive in the job market.
So tell me more about what they offer.
Okay.
What kind of programs are available?
Well, we talked about job search coaching,
Yeah.
work tryouts,
Mm-hmm.
but they also offer a variety of training programs.
Like what?
Everything from vocational courses
Okay.
to skills workshops
Got it.
to even full degree programs.
Wow. So it really runs the gamut.
It depends on the individual's needs and goals.
Okay.
And the best part is
Yeah.
you can continue receiving your benefits
Oh, wow.
while you participate in approved education and training.
That's amazing. That removes a huge financial barrier
Exactly.
that so many people face
Yes.
when they're thinking about further education or training.
It empowers people to invest in their future
Yeah.
without having to choose between financial stability
Right.
and personal growth
It aligns with that idea of lifelong learning.
and adaptability.
It's like they're saying, we're not just going to give you a fish, we're going to teach you how to fish,
Exactly.
which is a really powerful message.
It is.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but there's one more topic I want to touch on before we wrap up. The special provisions for older, unemployed individuals.
Yes.
The brochure mentioned this unemployment path to retirement.
Yes. This is a really unique feature
Yeah.
of the Finnish system
Okay.
designed to support those nearing retirement
Okay.
who are unemployed.
Yeah.
For those born in 1964 or earlier,
Okay.
this path allows them to receive extra days
Wow.
of unemployment allowance,
So potentially extending it until they reach retirement age.
like a bridge between unemployment and retirement,
Yeah.
recognizing the challenges older people face
That makes a lot of sense.
in the job market.
It's acknowledging that finding a new job
Right?
when you're in your late 50s or early 60s
Yeah.
can be incredibly difficult.
Yes.
And the system provides that safety net
It does.
during that vulnerable period.
It does.
And what about those who are even closer to retirement age?
Well, for those born before 1962,
Okay.
there's even the option to apply
Okay.
for an early old age pension
Wow.
if they're unemployed
Yeah.
and receiving those additional days.
So it's like another layer of security
It is.
for those who are nearing that traditional retirement age.
Yes.
Wow. It really seems like the Finnish system has considered every stage of a person's working life
It has.
and has built-in support
Yeah.
for each of those stages.
It's very comprehensive
Incredibly.
and well designed.
And it all points back to that core philosophy that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
This belief in collective responsibility,
Yes.
a commitment to supporting individuals during challenging times,
Yes.
and a focus on empowering people to take control of their lives.
Exactly.
It's a system that's built on empathy
Yes.
and a really deep understanding of the human experience.
It is.
It's truly remarkable.
It is.
It really gives you a lot to think about, doesn't it?
It does.
And before we move on to the final part,
Okay.
where we'll hear from some individuals who have actually navigated this system,
I'm excited for that.
yeah, I think it's worth reflecting on what we've learned so far.
Definitely.
What stands out to you? What are some key takeaways you're noticing?
You know, for me, it's that proactive and holistic approach.
Yes.
It's not just about giving out money.
It's about providing a comprehensive support system
Exactly.
that includes guidance, training opportunities, and a genuine belief in the individual's ability to succeed.
It's a system that empowers
Yes.
rather than just providing a temporary safety net.
And it seems to be so deeply intertwined
It
with
does.
Finnish culture and values.
Yeah.
It's not just a set of rules.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of a society
Mhm.
that prioritizes the well-being of its citizens
Yeah.
and believes in investing in their future.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if there are parts of this model
Uh-huh.
that could be,
Adapt.
implemented in other countries.
Yeah,
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
right.
let's hear from some people who have
Yeah,
actually
shit.
gone through the system.
We have a couple of stories.
Yeah.
From individuals who shared their experiences
Yeah.
navigating Finnish unemployment benefits.
It's good to get a glimpse into how it works in practice,
Right.
beyond just the rules and regulations.
One story that stood out to me was about a graphic designer
Okay.
in her late 20s
Okay.
who was laid off from a small agency.
Okay.
And she had to navigate the system for the first time.
Okay.
And what was interesting is that she was able to access the earnings-related allowance.
Oh, through her unemployment fund.
Right.
Right.
And she talked about how helpful the TE office was
Oh, yeah.
in connecting her with job opportunities.
Wow, that's great.
They helped her refine her CV. They gave her tips on writing cover letters.
Okay.
And they even pointed her towards a workshop
Oh, wow.
on digital marketing skills,
That's smart.
recognizing that those skills are in high demand.
Yeah.
It's another example of that proactive approach.
Exactly.
The TE office isn't just processing claims, they're actively helping
They are.
people get the skills they need. It's great to succeed.
Yeah.
And in her case, it paid off.
Oh, good.
Within a few months, she landed a freelance gig
Fantastic.
with a tech startup.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that her earnings from that gig
Yeah.
were factored into her benefit calculations.
So they were gradually reduced
They did.
as her income increased.
Right.
It's great that the system has that flexibility.
Yeah.
So you can transition back to work
Yeah.
without that fear
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
sudden loss of income.
It's much more encouraging
It is.
and supportive
Yeah.
than just cutting people off
Yeah.
as soon as they find any work.
Absolutely.
It recognizes that sometimes the path back to full employment can
Right.
be gradual.
It can.
And it might involve some freelance work, part-time jobs,
Yeah.
or even starting your own business.
Exactly. It gives you a chance to build back up
Right.
your income and your confidence.
Without that fear of losing the safety net. The other story that I thought was really interesting was about a middle-aged carpenter
Okay.
who unfortunately suffered a workplace injury
Oh, no.
that prevented him from continuing
Oh, wow.
in his profession.
Yeah. That's a tough situation to be in,
Yeah,
having to deal with an injury.
yeah. And the uncertainty of how you're going to support yourself.
Exactly. When your livelihood is suddenly gone.
Right. And in his case, he wasn't eligible for the earnings-related allowance
Okay.
because he couldn't immediately return to the same type of work.
Right.
But the labor market subsidy was there
Okay, good.
to provide a safety net.
Right. For a wider range of people.
Right.
Regardless of their work history.
And what was remarkable was that the TE office
Yeah.
connected him with a vocational rehabilitation program.
That's wonderful.
So he was able to retrain and acquire new skills
Okay.
in a field that was less physically demanding.
Good for him.
And he spoke really highly of the support that he received,
Oh, that's great.
praising the system for helping him find a new path.
A new path forward.
It's a testament to the system's commitment
It is.
to helping people adapt and thrive even when faced with these major challenges.
It's not just a temporary fix.
It's about investing
Yes.
in people's long-term well-being.
Yes.
You know, these stories, they're just snapshots
They are.
of individual experiences,
Yeah.
but they really bring the system to life, don't they?
I agree.
They show how these principles that we've been talking about,
Yeah.
proactive support,
Yeah.
individual empowerment,
Mhm.
flexibility,
Yes.
a focus on well-being,
Yeah.
they actually play out
They
in real people's lives.
Yeah, it's one thing to read about the rules.
Right.
It's another to see how they actually work.
And it's important to acknowledge
Yeah.
that no system is perfect.
Of course not.
There are bound to be challenges and areas for improvement.
Of course.
But the Finnish model,
Yeah.
at least what we've explored today,
Yeah.
seems to offer a really compelling example of how a society can come together to support its members
Yeah.
during tough times,
It does.
fostering not just financial security,
Yeah.
but a sense of dignity, hope, and opportunity.
Well said. I think this has been a really enlightening deep dive.
It has been.
And I hope our listeners
Yeah.
have a new appreciation for this.
I know, I do.
Yeah.
It's given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
So as we wrap up this episode,
Okay.
I want to encourage our listeners to think about what we've learned.
Yes.
Think about your own community. your own experiences, the systems in place,
Yeah.
what's working well,
Uh-huh.
what could be improved,
Yeah.
and how can we all contribute to creating a world
Yes.
where everyone has the opportunity to thrive,
That's the goal.
regardless of the challenges they face.
It's a journey we're all on together.
It is.
Sharing knowledge, ideas,
Yeah.
we can create a more just and equitable future.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Finnish unemployment benefits system.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking,
Yes.
and maybe even inspiring.
Yes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep engaging in those conversations that matter.
Absolutely.